is going on, everybody? Hello, 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 hello. How are you? Sorry, I know I'm a couple minutes late. I had to get another cup of coffee because, Papa Bear is back in the house. But oh my goodness, what what is going on here? There's already a ton of comments. All right, well, hello everyone. This is I'm going to take this as a good sign. People seem to be very engaged. There's a lot of people here when I hop in. That's awesome. Oh, hold on. Let's see. And who? Anybody? Well, let's see. I just went live now. All right, we may have a special guest, so no pressure. Hold on. I'm just gonna message them the link in case they do, and then I promise you I will catch up with the chat, or at least start catching up with the chat. We'll see how things go. Okay, so good morning, everyone. It is so good to see you. Let's see. We got Alex Bernard in the house. We're giving nifty 500k packs of cards. I figured we were going to start here. We're probably going to stay here the entire stream. Ruin the rental market for regular people. No, I don't think so. If they were giving out packs, in my opinion, if they were giving out packs for giving out decks for gold and diamond level, that would really kill the market. But as you can see, the market is already dead because bots have gone offline. Nobody wants to play in bronze and silver, so nobody's going to rent your one BCX card. So everybody should probably rethink how they feel about that. Yes, Ghostly BG, you're right. They're giving 0 packs. They're holding them all. All right, that's my card's concern. If we went through with that. Oh, so they decided not to do it? No, they're still going to do it. Also, what will be the point of buying packs off other players if they can rent the deck for a fraction of the price? So, well, actually, no, they're renting it for free, so that should make you even more upset. But here's my thing with this, guys. And again, I'm not the one designing it, and but if I was in Nifty Arcade shoes, this is how I would put it, right? I would only allow accounts that have been active or open within the last 30, maybe 60 days to rent or borrow a deck for 2 seasons max. That's 1 month. And in that 1 month, these players should be able to figure out whether or not they want to continue playing with the game. After that, it goes to somebody else. And again, if it comes to people just constantly opening up new accounts, right, multi-accounting to play in bronze and silver, that doesn't make sense to me. And I actually like the fact that they are staying only with bronze and silver decks, because the earnings there are tiny compared to the higher levels. And with the rank rewards changes, those pools are separate. So if you are playing in gold and above, this actually does not affect you as a player. It doesn't even touch your reward pool by any means. So and the rewards are soulbound now, right? So it's like there's even like less if all that stuff gets printed again. This goes with us trusting. This goes with us trusting what's that called? Trusting Nifty Arcade. So if you don't trust Nifty Arcade as a platform, that's fine, right? But then, I don't know. Can we at least stop with the giving 500 packs to Nifty? Yeah, we should. Yeah, language matters. Language matters. So you're absolutely right. They're loaning out 500,000 packs worth of decks. I think it's going to be about 1,000 gold, not gold, but bronze or silver level decks. Now, if you guys remember, I was pushing for this. I was pushing for this through the DAO. I wanted the DAO to buy the decks, right? And I don't know how many it was going to be, but I love the platform that Nifty has built. And so to me, that's really that's the crux of it. They are onboarding new players. They do a great job as a guild, and they have a great solid community that exists not just within Spelllands, but a bunch of other games. If you have not checked out their platform yet, they are trying to be the Steam of Web3. And what they mean by that is they're trying to create a platform where you can come in and try a bunch of Web3 games without you can essentially try a bunch of Web3 games without essentially investing any money in, which sounds bad, right? If you put it like that. But how many people would we open our audience to that will be like, oh, this is actually a good game. I'm actually pretty good at it. I like it. The community seems dope. Let me go and buy some cards now. I got the free trial, and now I'm going to stick around, right? I got a 1 month free trial. Now I'm going to stick around. Giving, borrowing, same thing. No, Alex, that's not. Borrowing means you have the expectation of taking it back. There's no transfer of ownership. Agrod has already stated that if this does not work, he's intended to burn all the cards. Yep. Well, it's not the same. Nice. Guess we see what happens. All right. Why did SPL hire so many people, then not to do much, then fire them? I asked because Bulldog was employed, and he said in a video he didn't even really understand his job. They just paid him. Were they trying to dump money? Again, I mean, I don't have any answers for that. I would assume if they're trying to run a tight ship, or any business that is trying to make money will not be doing that. I think they just got caught up in the bull run like everybody else did. That's just what happens, right? Like, here's the thing: people are gonna target people are gonna target Splinterlands and be like, oh my god, they laid off half their staff. Dude, Google and Microsoft and Facebook and Meta, or Facebook Meta, like all these companies are laying people off. Like, again, could Splinterlands have done a better job? Yeah, but we're in a bad economy. So, just pinpointing and cherry picking and being like, oh, they did a bad job because now they laid off a bunch of people. Yeah, okay, well, a ton of companies did that too. Does that make it okay? No, and I hope that they learned their lessons. But to say that like Splinterlands is the worst of the worst, come on. Just trying to be fair here. I think it's a good, man. I'm already feeling charged up. So yeah, okay, we're gonna go full shill for the team this stream, I think. I'm just kidding, guys. I think it's a good idea for long-term growth. More players equals higher prices for all assets. That'd be awesome. He didn't understand his job. The job community manager is pretty clear as far as online communities go. He was not the only person. I don't know. End of the day, it's a game. Yeah, look, I'm not gonna comment on Bulldog. He's a cool guy. I got to meet him very briefly at Splinterfest. How he handled his job and what he says about it afterwards, like that's on him. Like, I mean, there's no comment for me on that. BB Omega, what's going on, man? So good to see you. LCBG is providing platform decks. Good for Nifty and SPL, not good for people who rent cards. All right, so this is just conversation between you guys. I'm gonna let you guys keep talking so that I can catch up to everybody else here. I tried asking a question on Town Hall yesterday, and not sure if Aggie was fully understanding the issue I was presenting. We all know how difficult it is to get Gladiator cards at diamond level. This directly affects the reward equation. Oh, I think I remember your question. This directly affects the reward equation if we were to utilize the conscript ability. In my opinion, I don't see the value of having conscript if you are losing reward value by using it. You know what, Aaron? I was actually thinking about this not just with Gladiator cards, but with reward cards as it stands. Because I like using that little rat. There's like is it a Venari? I don't know. It looked like a rat to me. I think it's like a muskrat. The one that has Martyr at level 1. I love throwing him into games now. And I was wondering the same thing of, am I getting dinged every time? Because I think for Soulbound reward cards, if you want to play them, it shouldn't matter what level it's at. You should still get the full rewards. So this is a great question, and I will see if I can try to put it in through any other channel. But it is good to think about, because like I said, I love using some of these cards even at level 1. So why is hold on, somebody's calling me. Okay, hopefully it's just a butt dial. All right, they'll be losing silver reward cards, starting over again and again. Yeah, that's fine as long as it's profitable. We'll be done. But guys, do you see how much people are winning in bronze? To spend $10 for a spell book, right? To spend $10 for a spell book to win a couple of cents in bronze, for 2 weeks, or it's not 2 weeks, but 2 seasons. Like, how much can you win? $10? Can you win $10 in bronze? Actually, here's the best question for everybody who's like, this is gonna get exploited to hell. If you think that somebody can earn $10 worth of value in 2 seasons in bronze, so in 1 month, that means that they can earn $120 in a year, right? Because they can earn $10 a season, or $10 every 2 seasons. So 120 divided by 10, that means that they're looking at a 1,200% ROI in bronze. You tell me, like, that sounds amazing. Why aren't we all playing in bronze? If we can just set up a new account for $10 and then essentially get a free deck and earn $10. I mean, actually, in bronze, you could do this without even needing a free deck. You could probably just rent out a bunch of cards for pennies, since the market is dead right now. So yeah, I don't think bronze is returning 1200%. I don't think even champion is returning 1200%, but that's just me. Good points. Okay, so what's your suggestion for drawing in new people, showing them full game experience? I've personally brought in one new person to the game, and had I not delegated him a ton of cards, he would have quit on day 2. Yeah, I've had problem bringing people into the game too. I mean, it's especially because it's crypto. Even if they like come from like a Magic the Gathering background, I don't know. It's just it's tough. So my hope is that if people have a free to play version to try, right, and then they get the drip, just the dopamine, a little taste on their tongue to be like, oh, well, wait, hold on, this I can earn money from this. Let me tell you guys a story about myself. When I first started playing Splinterlands, now this was during the boom, right? So August of 2021. I remember I was playing in bronze or just out of novice, and obviously it was all starter cards and stuff then. But I remember the first time I won a game. And I made like X amount of DEC or whatever it was, and it was like less than a penny. Now, I wasn't like hurting for money. I wasn't looking to like to me, Splinterlands was like an investment, but I was like looking to invest in the tokens. But that first game where I won, however much DEC it was to get like a penny or half a penny, I was just like, holy crap. This is insane. I just played a game and I earned something. That's never happened in my life before, at least not if I'm not competing on like a high or competitive level, right? That to me was insane, and it just dove me straight into the ecosystem even further, right? And at that point in time, all I had done was pay the $10 for the spell book, and then I'd rented out Mylar. I rented out Mylar because everybody was talking about how Mylar is the king of bronze back then. So I rented out Mylar, and I won a game, 2 games, and I was just like, wait a second, this is crazy. And then I became an evangelist. That's the word I'm looking for. I became an evangelist that would just wanted to like dive deeper and deeper into the game and learn more about it. So my whole point is, you get 1,000 people, right? You get 1,000 people that want or that try the game. 1% every month, all right? So 1,000 people come in every month. If you get 1%, that's 10 people that have the same kind of experience that I did, that want to play at silver or gold. Well, now you have 1,000 people that are bringing $10,000 to $20,000 in a month minimum, right? Just a 1%. So just think about that in the long run and how that compounds over time. That's probably what happens to 90% of people. I don't know how to fix a game. Well, this is the funny part about this, Alex, and I love you, man. So it's like, I don't have answers on how to fix a game. I didn't make the game. Why do I have to fix it? No, that's fine. But don't shit on everybody else's answers, especially the ones that are coming from the team, because they are trying. They have every reason to. So if you don't want to take responsibility, if you're just gonna say, well, it's not my responsibility to fix the game, then let the people who are trying to do it actually fix it without getting in their way every single step. That's all. I mean, again, voice your opinion. I think people have brought up good questions. It's just the manner in which it's being done. It's like the team is trying to screw everybody over, when clearly I don't think that's the case, right? But no. All right. I need to have some coffee. Thankfully, this is decaf. Otherwise, I'm going to get too wired up. Cheers, guys. What a way to start the day. All right, let me catch up with the rest of the chat because I don't even know how far behind I am. All right. I love that you, Alex, and Ghostly BG are talking. Good morning, Andrew Johnston. It's good to see you. I guess I'm waiting for Last Hope to come and accuse him of shilling. Oh yeah, that was funny. I wonder if that dude's gonna come out, or I don't know if it's a dude, but if that person's gonna hop into the live streams. Actually, you know what, Last Hope, if you are here or if you watch this, I welcome you to jump in on stream with me or on video with me and say whatever you want to say to my face. FOMO February. Oh, I need to look into that. I got my Splinterlands TV stream tonight, and I don't know how to do that. Wrong channel. Good day, guys. SPL TV is down, so no FOMO Feb for anyone right now. Oh, that sucks. Oh, wait. Does that mean I'm not doing a stream tonight? Hopefully it'll be fixed by then. Pascal, what's going on? Jedi Sky Knight, what's going on? Pascal says, where are these 500,000 packs coming from? already bought by SPL from burned packs? No, I think it's from the remaining unsold. And anybody saying that Split and Lens needs to buy the packs, like, come on. It's just logic, guys. They own it already. Who are they gonna pay? who are they gonna pay? They're gonna like pull money from their bank account and then pay themselves and then put it back into their bank account? Like, what does that even mean? They own the packs right now, so they can, in my opinion, do whatever they want to do with it, even if that means not listening to a community proposal that, again, SPS didn't have jurisdiction over. Now, here's the thing: I do want to recognize the we'll call it the offense, right? That people feel from voting on something and then feeling like the team is not listening to you. I get that. I actually do. Now, all I'm trying to say is that the team is not required to listen to you because the validator, or however SPS is designed right now, or the governance, the DAO, that's what I mean, only has jurisdiction over SPS, vouchers, and the node licenses. So anything else that the team has asked or asked people to vote on is actually them just getting the community sentiment. Nobody is like obligated to do that. Is it kind of like a bad move or a bad look for them to do that? Yes, I agree with you. I do agree with you, right? Because it's like, well, why ask our opinion if you're just going to disregard it? But in this case, it's not like we voted on something and then they said, nah, we're not going to do that. We voted on something, and then a couple months later, they saw an opportunity and said, well, we still have some packs available. This seems like a way that we can go about it. And at the end of the day, they still own the packs. They can do whatever they want with it. And when I look at this, again, objectively from a big picture, bird's eye view, I think that it's going to do way more positives than negatives. But there has been, in my opinion, a significant erosion of confidence and maybe even trust, right? But definitely some confidence within the team and their approach. And that started, at least in my opinion, after the Rift Watchers for DEC proposal. And I think there's just so much overhang from that. A lot of the community still feels that. And then when they see something like this, it just triggers them even more and more and more. So I'm trying to be empathetic. I understand where people are coming from with this, right? Like, I understand the reaction. I'm just trying to say, big picture. That's all. Harris, good morning. Luthian's in the house. You already have my workout today, so I'm here guilt-free. Amazing. I haven't done my workout yet. So I guess I'll need to get started on that afterwards. Virus, what's happening, dude? Level Up Life, what's going on, man? How are your thoughts been? Actually, no, Level Up Life in the map chat. I saw one of your comments yesterday saying that you've brought in, actually, this would be great. I think Level Up Life said that they've brought in like more than 50 people into the game through the Nifty Arcade platform. So for all of you people out there who have been trying to get other, friends and family or other people into the game, my question is, what have you done that has been more effective than that? Have you brought in more than 50 people, and what have you done to do so? Or sorry. Now, what have you done? I'm not trying to make this an effort play. What have you done in the sense that, like, what has worked for you? Because the data, as it currently is showing that Nifty Arcade is quite effective in the way that their platform can attract and retain players. So if there's something else out there, I am actually genuinely curious to know. I think the team would be genuinely curious to know, so that they can provide resources there as well. We missed you. We missed you too. What's up, Fun for All? Oh, are we getting? We're probably getting all of the. Are we getting all of the Splinter Lens TV folks here today because of the because of the maintenance? That's probably what's going on. Well, welcome, guys. I hope you're having a good time. Hope your Tuesday morning or Tuesday evening has been fantastic. Gathering the Magic, what's going on? Wibble, Icy Flow, After Sound bots are back. Look at the Peak Monster dashboard. Yeah, I know, I saw that, but it's still not as high as it was before. But you know what? For everybody complaining about like rental stuff, then I mean, we should start seeing rentals pick up then, right? Should be good. To me, it's a win-win either way, right? I mean, people are going to complain about one thing or another, but it's like, okay, bots are gone. Well, now we complain about rentals. Oh, bots are back. Oh, now we complain about bots. I asked Aggie, and he specifically said the decks will auto-cancel after 30 days. Oh, cool. All right, well, there you go. 30 days. That's 2 seasons. I think it's a good idea to lend new players a deck and get them interested. Icy Flow. I'm with you on that. Thanks for clarifying a lot for me after sound. Anytime, Alex. Alex, I think you beat me yesterday in a game. GG's. You know what's nice though? Without all these bots playing, I'm starting to recognize a lot more names of people playing in like gold and diamond. Skyer, what's going on? What's happening in this update? We can find out. It's refreshing to hear you spell logic. Oh, well, thanks, Level Up Life. You know me. I just try to keep it real. I don't actually know. They haven't released the release notes yet. There were a couple of items. The card editions should be going live, or card sets versus card editions. But I don't think we're going to see that in tournaments or we're not going to see that in tournaments or brawls for a while, because this brawl cycle that just got started is still going to be the old one. So it'll probably be like next week. And then tournaments, I think they were talking about how like he had already done like 2 weeks of tournaments, and so he's not going to cancel them and recreate them. So, you know, we'll probably feel the effects of this by mid February, hopefully. Zach, what's going on? Is GLGT trading on Hive tomorrow? I don't know. I thought it would be, but we haven't seen any announcements from it. So just the fact that they pushed the pre-sale back to the 8th made it feel like they were going to have GLGT and GLUSD minting live. So maybe we get that in this update. I don't know, but everything that we got yesterday was obviously all Splinterlands. So how to recover mentally after losing 13 in a row? Oh God, I don't know, man. Honestly, like I'm not even kidding. I quit the game. Like 3 times a week because of stuff like that. The taste of money. All right, with Nifty, it is essentially a zero sum. Ooh, we got someone in the house. All right, give me 1 second, all right, for you. Just want to catch up on the chat here, and then actually no, yeah, I'm not gonna leave you in there. What's going on, man?
Not much. I just running around today a little bit. Just got back.
Oh well, thanks for hopping in. Well, I've already been talking a lot about this, but I'm sure people are curious to hear your views. We haven't talked at least publicly in a bit. How are you feeling about Splinterlands over the last couple of weeks? We'll call it Soulbound and bots and the ECB.
I think they're going through their kind of their next iteration of changes. So we'll see how it all kind of the net effect. I think in terms of the bots, I think if it's just like any of my experience or some of my bots and things like that, just trying to figure out where the sweet spot is. Just trying to tinker. I don't think bots are going to disappear. Maybe there's fewer. So I think this is kind of where the Nifty and if Aggro did this intentionally, where he thought about it and kind of offset some of the potential loss and decrease in number of bots and things like that. So I think this is kind of maintain and keep the number of players in a healthy state. I think where they're going, because let's say they're going to compete with someone like Axie Infinity. Axie is growing right now, and they're adding more, and the Ronin chain will eventually add games to it. Right now it's only a 1, but I would imagine over the next 3 years they're projected to add 5 to 6 games to their network. So
wow, okay. Well, I know you're bullish on Ronin, and I've done very little research on it, but if we can get away, because you're probably the only person that I talk to regularly who is even just remotely aware of what's going on in Axie. What is Axie doing that is effective right now for growing people in this kind of like weird bull rally, whatever you want to call it, bear market rally?
I think one of the core principles that Axie has always maintained, it's a scholarship type model, and I think it's something that I believe groups like YGG and Nifty, they kind of borrow from that or extend the scholarship program, so to speak. And we can have a different perspective on what percentage to take and things like that. I think the uniqueness that Splinterlands kind of thrown into the mix is the bots piece. Splinterlands embraces bots as long as it meets certain fair play components and things like that. So the Splinterlands has taken the other extreme where they're supporting themselves, their ecosystem through bots versus games like Axie Infinity has and others like League of Kingdoms, and they supported their growth through the scholarship program.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's kind of a good move then for Splinterlands to be partnering up with Nifty.
Yeah.
In that way, right? We want more humans. We don't just want more players. We want more humans, right? That are going to bring more money to the ecosystem. That will be a contributing member of it.
I mean, I don't necessarily look at it as like. I think it's good to just have more players, and those are spend. Those are not going to be extracting from the economy. I know people will, like one of the downsides of scholarships is if they're from either a underdeveloped or unbanked or underbanked country, one of those countries, they'll extract on a weekly basis out of they'll take out of the ecosystem. I think it's just a matter of coming up with that balance. So Nifty scholars players will extract on a weekly basis. It'll be very similar to the bot experience. I think that's where some people may not realize it. It'll be very similar in terms of the extraction, I think, and I think also the direction that Splinterlands is going with the Soulbound model. It's just something that people think about, but it's not something that's proven, and it's something that is kind of inching towards the traditional Web2 model. And this comes down to the notion of like what constitutes a game to be sustainable, fun, and enjoyable. Those types of consideration aspect of the games.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting approach and actually a very good anti-argument for the Nifty partnership then.
Oh yeah. People have to realize, I mean, they can't not realize that these scholars are going to be extracting on a weekly basis. The interesting part is like Splinterlands. If you were trying to extract from Splinterlands right now, because we have Soulbound cards, the only thing is the SPS, right?
And packs for the next couple months.
Yeah, if you get lucky, but the silver, like my silver account. Yeah. I mean, I get. I get one every 3 months. I get a pack every 3 months. So, yeah.
Well, so then somebody was doing the math, and I'm not going to remember it here, so I don't want to put out any numbers, but it seemed very insignificant, the amount that somebody could earn in 30 days in bronze.
Oh, it's nothing. There's no earnings if it's silver. So this is the fallacy I think Aggro has positioned, and I liked it. I like it, but I think to position and encourage Nifty to put it in a bronze level or anything below silver too is just, I think it's inhumane. It's just a waste of people's time. You're playing for pennies.
No, but see, I was just relaying a story where when I made my first penny playing a game, that made me want to play at the higher levels to earn more.
Sure. But so, you're an American.
Fair. Well, I'll have my biases there. But the point that I'm trying to make is that if you do this at gold and higher, I think people, including myself maybe, would start to feel like now these people are coming in and actually dipping into the higher reward pools and pulling away from the more serious players. Right now, most people will play in like gold and above. And sure, I'm sure you have some people playing in silver who are serious about the game, but are more casual with like not wanting to spend the money to go higher. And so therefore, it's like if you keep it in bronze, maybe if you allow some of it in silver, it's like, well, we all figured the bots are fighting down there anyway for fractions of a fraction of an SPS. So if you were to do it at the higher levels, I think you'd get way more pushback from people.
Oh, absolutely.
That would say like, hey, wait, now these people are coming in for free. They're earning my, you know what I mean? Like, they're taking out of my pool.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you have a pool of $1. You have 10 people. Now you have 100 people pulling from the same dollar. It's just like, I don't know if you noticed, like with the decreased number of players available at, especially at diamond level and things like that, the SPS payout is a lot higher.
Yeah.
Well,
here's the thing. I think just mathematically, and I haven't calculated this, but just thinking through, if you were to play in gold, if you were to get a gold deck for free, keep 50% of the rewards, there might actually be an argument that you could win more than $10 worth of value from the game in 30 days or 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You
So
can,
that would be the exploit in and of itself. Because
yeah,
then why wouldn't I go?
correct.
Why wouldn't I go and
Yeah,
start just making alt accounts? You know, if it's $10 and then I play the account because I love playing the game.
yeah, and I think that just what makes his argument work that Aggie and the team has laid out is that it's a 30-day period,
Sure.
and it's effectively 2 seasons.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's not a deal breaker in my mind, even though you're cycling it. You
Sure.
have
Okay.
you have the higher. So I always see the benefit outweigh the negative side, because what
Mhm.
happens is when a player plays this and they'll see it and they'll see the potential. I think what it is we want people to be able to see the potential that Splinterlands has. Like think of like what gravitated you, Darkest Night and all the other folks, right, to the game is like what makes Luthien stick around, right?
Mhm.
Um,
She
and
just likes beating down on people. She's
Well,
like
yes,
bullying people.
yeah, yes, absolutely, right. But even her, she'll struggle with the bots too, and things like
Yeah.
that, right? Because their bots get optimized and things like that, and you get tired, you get burnt out.
Yeah.
But what it is you see the potential impact and the economic impact it can have on you. Like, so eventually, like. I look at our industry as like the last mile for every industry has figured out how to monetize, has made a living, right? Athletes have made a living, musicians have made a living, artists, there there are very very few good starving artists nowadays in the world, right? Because of the advancement and our industry from a gaming perspective, I think more and more people will become professional gamers, will be able to
Yeah.
make a living from gaming. And like I was talking to one of the guys. He's making like $300 a day, right? And I was trying to like pick his brains, like how if you extrapolate that over a consistent staking and earnings through different types of
Playing
crypto games.
Splinterlands, making
I'm going
$300.
to just various crypto games.
Oh, crypto
Yeah.
games. Okay.
Yeah, so there are a few games that have higher payout than Splinterlands, but
Oh.
I think
Oh yeah, you've been holding out on me. What's going on here? I spent too much time.
we talk about different, but I think what makes Splinterlands unique is it's stable, right? It's something that's dependable, and
Yeah.
it's something the team will commit. They're not going to turn off the AWS server.
Yeah.
Yeah. Versus the other, we don't know. They don't have that same kind of. I think a higher degree of confidence, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's what makes Splinterlands unique.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I feel like you and I are still sitting on the opposite sides of this, though.
Yeah.
Because you want these decks to be played at like gold and above, and I'm saying that I like them in bronze and silver.
Oh, it doesn't really matter to me. It's a
Okay.
30-day period.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, if you really wanted to throw the bones and really have people see the true potential, it should be capped at like silver 2 or silver 1 level. That's all I'm saying. And instead of the bronze level, if you truly want someone to see it, but then you look at the population, right? How many people do you want to aspire to this level? So I think there has to be a few mixed in deck. There has to be a small percentage of whether it's going to be 10% or whatever. It's going to be at the silver 2, silver 3 level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
how do you? Okay, so just to kind of tangent off into something related, how do you feel about the idea that's been thrown around to have like a free to play version of the game where you can play at any level and you don't earn any rewards, but you can just go in and like set up, play against not community bots, but maybe like team setup bots just to get a feel for the game? Which would be a better way to attract new players, or are they equal with different kinds of approaches?
I think for our purpose, for our industry, the game, free to play doesn't really work. I think having a Nifty model works way better.
Okay.
This is why I ultimately believe that the team and the DAO have a fiduciary responsibility to provide these decks to new players so that they can see, they can have a taste of what it's like to earn and the potential that they can extrapolate it and say, okay, if I were to add another $500, can I get there? Or that you start to do math, you start to study the game more, you start to say, okay, do I really need this card, or is this card really necessary? And or is this card better than So you start to study the potential meta, and you kind of have to make decisions, give and take decisions for your cards. You have to say that like for instance, I don't play with all the There's going to be either Life or Fire. One of them will go. I'll rent them out.
Mhm.
I don't play with a full set.
Got it.
Just because mathematically it's not favorable to me.
Interesting. Okay. Um, I was gonna ask you something. Now I forgot it. Because as soon as you mentioned Life or Fire, I was just like, so yeah, you're not renting out Jotun, right?
Right? Yeah, but I don't have you.
No, but
But
that's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Yeah, it's probably
yeah.
more expensive.
But so I've actually been playing a lot with the new Death Summoner too.
Yeah,
Because
it's pretty good.
yeah, he's been winning more matches than I anticipated.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me catch up on some of the chat here because I know people are loving what we're talking about today. With Nifty's essentially zero sum game, no rewards. Hope Nifty can ensure its new players every month. Yes, same. Thanks for the Ulrich shout out. Yeah, I got BB Omega. Did you win any kind of like cosplay of the day or cosplay of the weekend at Splinterfest? Because that was probably the best one that I saw. There was never any SPL TV during maintenance. They just screwed us, but not on purpose. They screwed us, but not on purpose. They just didn't know what they were building. Learning is a tough process, but we still resent them for that. I don't know what that's about. Looks like, oh wait, hold on. These are a lot older. So let me go through. We voted on burning packs each day. I don't see how Nifty Current Deal contradicts that. Yeah, somebody's getting to the technical thing about this, where it's just like we agreed to burn 25,000 packs a day. It doesn't say
It's
that
true.
the team couldn't do anything else. So
yeah.
So actually, there's another. Make sure you read the fine print. What's up, Flashy Flash? Maintenance hype. Let's go. What's going on, Deuce? Who do you like in the Super Bowl? AFC or NFC? I don't know. Do you watch football?
Yeah, I think this is, probably, I guess, Patrick Mahomes. He's probably gonna win. I guess, I don't know. I feel that way. But
It's actually impressive to think that I think Kansas City has been in the Super Bowl like 3 out of the last 4 years.
yeah,
That's dynasty status, even if they don't win. I don't know, but I just don't like the Eagles for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't necessarily care for the Chiefs either, but I guess I'll be cheering for the Chiefs if
and then in my area, no one wants the Eagles to win.
Wait, but aren't you like? But they're not
the Commanders. Fans. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fair. NFC East rivalry. Honestly, I think it's great. They should set a deck for people to use because it's Super Bowl. Oh, what I was going to say is that your idea, which is something that I championed a while back, was to have the DAO spend the money to set up the decks, use Nifty Arcade, and then pull instead of burning the rewards, pull it in and have it be an earning potential for the DAO. It's not going to be better than them staking or investing in other things, but it is providing a value to the rest of the ecosystem.
Now, I think we can look at what constitutes better, right? Are we just looking at pure ROI on the DAO side? Because the DAO serves a unique purpose. It's multifaceted. It could help the community, and by helping the community, they're kind of like the Federal Reserve, so to speak, and they have certain control. And SPS is one of their domains that they have certain accountability towards. So by helping some areas, they can rebalance the game, and that's one of the ways.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They don't have to always get a top level ROI. I mean, I think a DAO's naturally it's the survivability of the DAO that's relevant. I don't think the DAO should be, min-maxing every opportunity or anything.
No, and that's my approach too. It's just they're providing a service that's getting, doing something healthy for the ecosystem.
Right.
Gavin Magic, enjoy your Splinter Forge videos. Yeah, Gavin Magic, make sure you guys go check out his channel. I love the Nifty idea. I don't see the harm in if the cards are burnt if it doesn't work. I don't understand the salt. Yeah, Lithium, I'm in the same boat as you. Nearly used on my timer queue for a game earlier. All right, cool. My rent will expire in an hour. Oh, everybody's complaining about the game. How about? Oh, did you see the tower defense?
A little bit, yeah.
I forgot. Are you excited? Not excited about it?
I'm neutral because it's not something that I.
Oh, it's not your style of game. Yeah.
Well, okay. I mean, I actually play like Clash Royale and stuff, but the problem I have with it is because it's kind of Web3, and then you're kind of forced to make an economic decision. Then this is a great game for Splinterlands, the company, and Double Coconut because their margins are a little bit better. So it's good from a sustainability perspective.
Gotcha. Have you spoken with Vet V?
Just through Discord only.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
he's gonna hop on too, so we can
Yeah,
we can have a nice little roundtable here. Which I apologize to people in the comments. We're gonna try and catch up with as much as we can now.
Hey, Myers.
Myers is saying hi. Brandon Fourier saying hi. Jedi Skynet. People have missed you, man. Are you? Oh well, actually, I won't say this.
No, it's okay. You're talking about like creating the channel thing.
Yeah. I was gonna say, are you still gonna do your channel?
Yeah.
I didn't want to pre-announce it.
So no, it's okay. I've actually been pinging a couple of people because I wanted, if I was going to do something, I wanted to do it where it would kind of like scratch my own itch. So it's kind of a curiosity. It's kind of like what you're doing with your trajectory with the music path. So you know what I do is like I audit, I provide risk management, governance structure to a lot of companies, but then I wanted to create it. A format where it made sense. It's kind of something that's relatable to me and something I can talk about. And so part of the reason why I like Splinterlands is that Agro speaks volumes on like peace, prosperity, freedom. And then so the spin I would add is like I don't know if you heard of like a Moloch. Basically, I guess it's kind of coming back a little bit. It's a game theory, and it looks at things from a risk perspective. And it's human beings. We tend to make like really selfish and greedy, poor decisions. Yeah. So we kind of throw a monkey wrench into the whole process. So it's looking at games how like traditional Web 2 games you get completely bored after a while. You just get like Mario, you'll just complete it, you'll wait for the next version and things like that. Web 3 is different. You build, and this is why I like LAN. I like the concept around LAN, the structuring component.
Did you watch the LAN town hall?
A little bit.
Thoughts on that, or just nah?
Oh, you're talking about like Matt's?
Matt's thing.
Yeah, I think what Matt says at a macro level, his long-term journey. I think there's a lot more to the story. I think LAN is and just Web3 in general as a business model. I think it's fantastic for everyone because you can really dip in many different buckets. You can be a content creator. You can provide this staking, or you can build. You can create products and services, magic items on your LAN, and there's a lot that can be built. I think the concern that I always have with LAN when it comes to Web3, and as I've gone through the whole Axie Infinity experience and leaking a bunch of others, is that no one really has a clear understanding of what it is that they want to even initially, and a lot of people are uncomfortable staking that initial ground. And I think one of the things I like about what Matt has done in the past, and I wish he kind of accelerated this from a LAN perspective, is that mistakes will be made on the journey. It's we understand that it's Web3, and I just wish they just go ahead and release it and just modify as they go along. Yeah,
for sure. Okay, so I want to get Vet on here. Vet, you good to go? Thumbs up. There we go. All right, so we're gonna get Vet on here, but I want to quickly circle back. I don't know if you had a chance to read the comments from Luthien and Level Up Life about the. They were basically disagreeing about extraction from the other parts. So if you want to comment on that or read that, let me introduce or welcome Vet.
Actually, I don't really know how to get to the comments.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll pull those
without
up.
Opening up another browser.
Okay, we'll pull those up in a second. But Vet V, welcome. Hey. It is so good to have both of you guys on here. This is actually awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, Vet, how are you doing? Meet Fourier, meet Vet. I think you guys have talked before on Discord.
Yeah, on Discord. Yeah.
So.
And through your chat one time. The Deck V fireworks.
Oh yes. Yep.
So
we'll see how it all rolls.
Any thoughts on what we've spoken about already, or any thoughts on what's going on?
Yeah,
it feels like there's always something happening these weeks, which is great. Let's flow on.
Yeah, you always hit it. You always hit good timing with your streams. This Nifty Arcade thing. There's been so much salt about this. I think the primary salt came from it coming out of the blue. Right? It was a post that wasn't even officially announced, but someone in Map Chat was, scoping around Splinterlands peak posts and found it, and then it was like, oh, look what's happening. And anytime that happens in Map Chat, then there's something to argue about. So we got off of the bots topic and on to the Nifty Arcade topic. I think Fourier, he responded to something I put in Mav chat because I see everything through a business mind. I own a business. I've done in business and investing for most of my adult life. To me, this is a marketing thing, right?
Yeah.
You're running a business.
Yep.
You have assets. The assets are owned by you. And that's another thing I think I really want to get into with Fourier with his background and expertise in DAOs is what's in the DAO's control and purview and what is in the contractor or the game's purview. The Splinterlands owns the assets. They own the patents. They gave us the opportunity to put in our input of should we burn these, right? Because as a community, we're down in the dumps, and this would be good for assets. And I agree with that decision. I think having a time frame on assets as well as a print rate is a healthy thing. It's common in TCGs. But for them to see the landscape change, if the data is real for the Nifty Arcade, and they can bring in and on-ramp people that'll stick, it's marketing. So then it's a question of how do you leverage that marketing? Well, lucky for them, they are the producers of the goods that would be used in that marketing.
Yeah.
So it becomes a balance sheet transfer. It doesn't have to be a third-party person that comes in, some whale that says, I'm going to buy 500,000 packs, give it to Nifty, because I believe if I on-ramp so many people over a certain amount of time, then my assets will go up over time. That would be their play. No one would really argue against that. That's what Splinterland's balance sheet is doing, and they're just committing to, and the community should rightfully hold them to this, is if either it doesn't work or it's run its course, then the assets do not enter back into circulation.
Yeah, and I mean they've committed to that, saying that they're these cards are never going to be sold; they're just going to be burned, right? So
yeah, so I think it's a win-win. As far as the comments that Luthien and Level Up Life were making, it was more to the extraction of these players, and I agree from a simple view of coming in and just playing and getting rewards for playing, and then in that country they'll extract. That's true. But what's unique about Level Up Life's sharing his 50 accounts, he does a 90-10 split. And I'm assuming that's 90% for him, 10% for the player. I don't know. But we should
if you can confirm.
Right. So if he can confirm. But that split is set by the deck holders. If there are 0 decks available on Nifty Arcade, I'm about to put some up actually after yesterday's
nice
discussions. Yeah. I just took 7,000 Chaos Legion cards off rent to start finagling them into decks. Is if there are none available, then my split's going to be better than with my Scholar. I might try 80-20. If they're only getting 20% of rewards in bronze or silver, what real extraction can there be that'll impact anything, at least to the level that bots were doing? Right?
Well, I think Aggie did say it's going to be 50-50, which again is fine because you make less than fractions of a penny in bronze. And it's all pulling from a single, reward pool that isn't touching anything else. So, if that's going to be extracted, then I personally don't really care. I can understand if, people who are playing down in bronze and silver feel like their reward pools are getting eaten into. But, at the end of the day, you're not going to get crazy rewards from playing at the low levels anyway.
I don't think so. Talking with some of the folks that run some bots, and they're low level bots, but they do it for data gathering. And looking at some of those numbers, the packs are what deliver the goods. It's the packs that give the ROI for a bronze or silver level bot for the most part. So I guess there's an open question: where does the pack land in Nifty's setup? I don't know. I don't know how that's split up or who that lives with. But at the same time, to your point, Aftersound is, and Fourier, I'd like to get your perspective on this from a corporate CFO sort of person rolling it into this new world. The community engagement with a project changes with the perspective of that person or player. At the very beginning, I was like you, Aftersound. When I earned a pack from playing a match that was mine to keep, at the time, those packs were worth less than $2 on the secondary market, less than any other pack of cards I'd ever played in a trading card game, but I got it, and it's an NFT. That was a huge deal for me. And now, is a pack a huge deal for me? Well, relatively no. I mean, I can give those away. I mean, I'm lucky to have been around the game for a while, but that's true for anyone that's stuck with Magic the Gathering or stuck with any other game or project. So if we look at how Nifty Arcade can successfully on-ramp, it doesn't have to be much. It can be that fractions of an SPS that just adds up over time. And that it's not an easy extraction is a good thing, because then at 30 days, how much could they still would have staked SPS, right? Because it's staked, and they'd want to probably keep earning. So then that drives them to demand for more assets of renting. That's why I see this particular path as very low chance of heavy extraction versus the upside of stickiness of players, which is something we've been fighting to do forever. So,
well, it sounds like you both are in favor. Sorry, Foye, I don't know if you wanted to share something.
Yeah, I wanted to get Foye's input on kind of that perspective of where someone comes into the game, because to us three here, the small SPS in bronze and silver isn't worth our time. But to a brand new player, I would think there's still a lot of brand new players that is a big deal just because it's novel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the novelty part is okay. I think if you're, I'm more thinking the type of player that would be more interested in. So there's going to be groups of players. There's going to be ones in the U.S. that just wanted to try out Splinterlands for 30 days, and they'll just play along with it. And if those guys see the potential, they'll invest, and they'll probably invest in silver 2 or above to kind of make it worth their while. But I think in terms of where the majority of the players that Nifty will recruit from, I imagine would be from the unbanked or underbanked countries, and those will be the ones that will do the weekly or seasonal extraction. And I think when you look at it, where maybe the cards that will benefit are the soulbound cards, right? So like, well, the economy of the game has shifted significantly in my eyes. From my perspective on the analytics side of things, like when I have a deck, right? So my goal is thinking, oh well, now if there are summoners and things like that, right? So I can theoretically just build a like a silver 3 deck, for instance, where I know I'm not earning a lot, and it's actually costing me slightly. It's a break even structure with the bots. If I, let's say, pay $1 for Splinter Mates or whatever per month to run it, but over the course of let's say like 2 years from now, I know I can turn a positive then. So the ROI will be positive because I can leverage the soulbound cards. I don't have to sell the soul. I can sell it in excess. Like I can whatever they want to decide the vehicle they want to use for DEC vouchers or whatever to stake it to release these soulbound cards. But then when you're looking at these weekly or seasonal extractions from these players that are borrowing, it adds up. But I think the question is, what action are they going to take after 30 days, right? That would make it beneficial to the Splinterlands team and the community. And I think a good number of them will stay, and that's what you want from a marketing perspective. When you want them to be able to retain in some capacity. Now, if someone had like a few SPS over the course of the 30 days period, it's not going to really matter that much to them. Because if you're coming from a underbanked countries like the Philippines or somewhere like that, your initial thought after 30 days is, okay, where else can I go get this other deck, right? So then it puts the pressure. There's still that vacuum that the Nifty Arcade team has to look at. If you're Nifty Arcade, you're running, right? So you're either going to continue to buy, and this is where I think a lot of people may not really see the numbers initially, because the card rental market's down, the card value is down from where it was a couple of weeks ago, and things like that. But as more and more new players decide to stay within the ecosystem, they're going to have to get a couple of BCX. And all these are going to add up. And then Nifty Arcade is going to bear the lion's share of that burden to be able to fill this vacuum for them. They can't just turn around to Aggie and say, can I have those again, right? It's really not the same, because in Aggie's mind, he's looking at marketing. And now this is where the interesting conversation, the responsibility shifts to Nifty Arcade. They're either going to pony up a large sum of money, they're either going to lend, or they're just going to do what I think a lot of other people like YGG, Prime, and those guys are doing quietly is saying we're just gonna soft structure a soft DAO, and you're gonna fund it, and you're gonna get a certain component. And in some sense, they did something like that with the YGG Splinterlands team here. They forked 500K initially, and they build, and everyone has their own opinion on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then it's like what the objective is to really get other guilds, but none of it will fundamentally change without without Splinterlands team tokenizing the DAO and monetizing it, so that these DAO owners, these larger DAOs, will be able to come in to have that meaningful conversation. So I think if the team spends, and also it puts a lot of pressure on like having newer players from these other underbanked countries. It puts a lot of pressure on tournaments, because they want these lower end tournaments, because chances are they're good. It's a job for them, right? It's essentially an 8 to 14 hour a day job for them. Like I play a lot of games with these guys from Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia. I'm probably asleep or doing something else, but when I come on, they're still working at it, right? They're not bots, but they're really earning, because earning $10 a week for them is a tremendous amount of money. And if they can sell a resource on Polygon for $10 every week, that's like their whole family, right? So they're going to work hard at it, and this is what it shifts the burden on Nifty Arcades so much that they're going to have to figure out. They're going to have to stand up like a sub DAO or fund it in some way, or to come up with the money to support afterwards the 30 days.
Okay. Well, I mean, wouldn't the rental market suffice though? Don't you think?
No, they don't have enough money in 30 days. They come here, it's like the whole reason why Axie grows, right? Axie will continue to be the preeminent in terms of the number of user, like daily active user base, right? Axie will always be number one, because they've gotten the scholarship. They actually even have a program that's even way better. They have a tool, that's on your mobile app. You can actually choose to pay, and the compensation is way fairer, more reasonable than what Splinterlands is. But they just have a way more mature economy to be able to absorb this, and they have ways for you to monetize too.
God. I don't think that Splinter. Well, like you said, it should either go to Nifty or maybe some other third party, because Splinterlands shouldn't, or the DAO. Well, that's where I was going to lead to, right? Because if it sounds like what you're trying to say is that there's no kind of bridge to get them to whatever the next level is. I still think that, like, if somebody comes in, they like the game, they may not have like a ton of resources, but to buy their decks, but they can still come in and rent for relatively cheap, especially even at the higher levels right now. But there, as you said, there will also be a vacuum for anybody who wants to come in and create like silver and gold level decks, right? Or high silver and gold level decks. Maybe the DAO could do that. Maybe you could have some other.
It's like Furious Chicken would be a great conversation, right? He's in the Philippines. He's able to get to the point where he can rent, he can structure his model, but it took him a little bit of time, right? He was doing call centers, and there's a lot of young people in that market that's willing to do it. And initially, 30 days isn't going to do it for them. But to Aggie's point, from a marketing standpoint, there will be like check the box for the success rate. There will be a success rate. It might be a 5-10% retention, maybe 20% for a certain period of time. But to have longevity and to create a sustainable scholarship program, which Nifty Arcade is attempting to do, they're going to have to fund it. They're going to have to eat it.
Well, this could present a significant.
Or the DAO has to do it.
Yeah. But this could present a significant opportunity to create those like kind of next level decks, right? Silver and gold, where now you could actually go in and look at somebody's performance over those, 2 seasons or that 1 month, and then you essentially pick the winners. Yeah, you recruit them, they graduate to the next level. So it doesn't just become this thing that has like, okay, 30 days and done. It's like, well, if you do 30 days and you do really well, you can get to a higher level, start playing at the higher level, start earning a little bit more. And again, I don't think that should come from the team, but there is an opportunity there, I think is what you're trying to get at.
Yeah, so like from an economy standpoint, so I'll equate it to like with an Axie footprint. there's limit things that a user can do to make money. The cost to do it is significantly less than Splinterlands. Splinterlands is not a cheap game by any means, right? So, but the uniqueness of the Splinterlands economy is that you take that single deck. Not only can you play rank battle and you get paid, compensated, you can now play in tournaments. Oh, you can participate in guild brawls. Oh, you can use the same ones for Splinter Forge, or you can use it for the new the Soul Tower Defense. Yeah. Yep. So then and also there's going to be added and then if you happen to hold SPS, you can get GLX. So Splinterlands compensates you in the back end and the side compensation that kind of adds up. You can enumerate it that way, but in terms of like actual cheap rental, there isn't any solution way around it.
Thoughts,
so, on that recruiting thing, that's something I've talked to with the Splex guys. I'd really like to see Splex or another third-party app develop something. I can't program something that well, but one of these other groups definitely probably could, and you create kind of a leaderboard situation. And it's almost like, I take Biz's analogy. He once said, it's like people that own the horse and then you have a jockey that's riding, right? That's the exact relationship of a scholarship. And so you have ranked decks, and decks are ranked for their likelihood of winning in certain leagues in certain situations. And then you'll have ranked jockeys, and the jockeys get competed on. And so I'm advocating something that I will probably personally hate, because Ultims is my scholar. He's one of the best players in the game, and he's killing it with my champion deck. But then he goes on the open market, he becomes a free agent, I'm going to lose him. But I mean, that's where I think this Web3 stuff is going. And the sooner we get to those sorts of tools, the better. But back to something that Fourier was talking about that I think gets in a bit of the weeds, but is incredibly important, is the back end that Splinterlands is required to develop through nodes, through decentralization, tokenization of DAO and guilds and everything else, to make it so that this whole game and ecosystem can truly be Web3, is the foundation upon which a Nifty can exist in full force. A jockey system market third party can exist, so that things can be tokenized, things can be moved around in terms of an asset management sort of thing that allows for fluidity that's better and drives more benefit than a Web 2. Because the hurdles of getting Web 3 are still so high, so cumbersome. The benefit is really just for us people that like it. We're dealing with the challenges because we see the vision of where it can go. We like the community. We have other reasons. Normies aren't jumping on here because it's fun. We're still on the dial-up stage of internet. They don't want to wait till someone's off the phone to get on the internet and download something for 30 minutes, right? Then we're not there yet. But this is the time to build that. So I think that backbone is critical. And the other thing that Foye, I've noticed on the perspective you bring is financial. So there's absolutely with Web3 and play and earn or play and keep or play and own, whatever we want to use in terms of a term, this gaming space, there's that huge component of people that come in to earn. This is a livelihood. I think the piece that Weirdbeard and a lot of the community are pushing for that is important are the cornerstones of a platform like this have to be players that are players first. Either for the community, they're playing for the community, they're playing for guild play, something else. They're that core 1,000 people that are going to stick around when their assets are 25% of what they were before and they're not dependent on selling them, right? Maybe in 10 years they are. They see the game that way, but the game has to be engaging. I'll avoid the way fun, right? Because we all have fun in different ways. I love playing the economy part of the game. Other people like playing the battle part of the game or the tournament side of the game or anything else. Or even the streaming and commenting side of the game, or just go on the map chat, throw salt side of the game, whatever it is.
If only I got paid to do that.
But that's the point. That's the point is we need areas of this environment that aren't paid that people still engage.
Yeah.
Right? And
maybe Splinterland's competitor.
What's that?
Maybe Splinterland's competitor will pay someone to salt.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. I wonder if they have some deep things going on where they're paying just to keep it active. I don't know. I don't think they have to pay anybody. You
Well,
know,
no,
fans
I think Foyer is saying we're getting some undercover agents here, some Axie employees who are throwing salt all over
that could
Splinterlands
be
map chat.
that. Hey,
Hey, it's corporate. That's yeah,
espionage.
that's Web3 corporate espionage,
right.
isn't it?
Disrupt the community.
There you go.
That's right.
I mean, it almost feels like it. We're getting eaten up and destroyed from the inside. Sometimes it seems.
Sometimes I don't even call them arguments. I just call them just stuff, for a PC term, PG term, that they just throw out there because they claim to have not read a post or they misquote something, and then it becomes this circle of conversation screaming for an hour in map chat. Like, oh my gosh. If anybody knows the program that you can silence another program on a PC, let me know. Because there's sometimes I need to mute Discord for an hour and just not let it do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I poke my head in there sometimes just to see what's going on. I want to say hi to Weirbeard, who's in the house. Weirbeard, we were just talking about you actually, and happy birthday week apparently. So that's pretty cool. Var's saying that they had announced packs would go to the lender now, so there you go. That value is then not getting extracted as well. Luthi, Cleo, looks like Level Up Life was agreeing with some of the points you had. Stever, what's going on? Harris, if it's player first, I would not get Scholars. Scholars in the Philippines really play to earn. It's very rare that they play an FT game because it's fun. Yeah, I mean, so I had that experience back in late 2021 where I had somebody running as a Scholar on one of my accounts as well. And just because I had started creating content, I was getting people were reaching out to me, especially from other countries where they were like trying to apply for a job that I didn't really have, right? I'm like, I only had like one extra account, and it's like, oh, well, I already have a Scholar, and they're like, oh, let me know when you get a new one. So I mean, I agree with that. But to Vet's point, I feel like there's two different player bases here, right? Maybe, and I don't want to necessarily say it by country because there's people of different affluency no matter what part of the world they're in, but you are going to get those people who look at this as a game. There's people that look at this as an investment, and those will be the people that you want as like the cornerstones, right? People who are going to be like, I believe in what Splinterlands and the team is trying to build. And then you're going to get your other people who will come in and try to play to earn as it was designed. But the hope, I think, is that over time, when they start earning these assets, that you give them a long enough time frame, they no longer become like the people that need to extract every week, right? Because they see the value of the compounding over time. And maybe it starts off that way where they're extracting that value initially, but it's like, well, I continue playing, I secure partnerships or scholarships, I'm building up the assets within my account. And then at some point it's just like, well, now I want to compete at the higher or highest levels of the game, and therefore no longer need or feel the need to extract as much value as I was before.
Yeah, and I've like some other games I play that have people from other countries and things like that. They a few percentage of them they stay, they enjoy the earning, and they reinvest in the company. They reinvest in the game. They'll buy different products, different assets. They'll some games they'll buy dragons to help them earn more money, and they'll see the long curve value of the return.
Mm-hmm. To me, this the part that's missing in a lot of conversations is the time variable, because the reason this game really hit it for me was it came about the time that Magic the Gathering cards were starting to gain value in 2019, and then in 2020 they just went ballistic. So I was involved with Magic the Gathering 95, and this was when I was still in school. I was introduced by a friend. They're all playing with alpha and beta cards, and I'm like, oh, this is a neat game. We're playing them without sleeves on picnic tables, scuffing them all up, and now those cards would have been worth tens of thousands of dollars, right? And so I saw that growth, and I had a couple of boxes of Magic cards that were just sitting in the cabinet, and my wife was like, are you ever going to get rid of those? And I'm like, it's nostalgia for me. I started flipping through them, and some of these beat-up lands are selling for $1 a piece, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Wow.
Like, the time variable was shown to me, right? And so I lived that time variable. So now it's like, all right, in this new Web3 environment, they're trying to bring physical into digital. So then the next question is, what project is going to last long enough to allow the time variable to play out? That's important. And so when I started, I hit up Gods Unchained and Splinterlands in the same week. And Gods Unchained was a lot more cumbersome of a gameplay than I had time for or interest in figuring out. So then I chose to focus on Splinterlands because of the fast pace of the game. And then I stuck with it even through all the turbulence. And Foyer, you were here, I think, for a lot of that. When the blockchain was hijacked and everything else, when I saw the integrity of the team behind it, that's what convinced me that this team and this project was in the top league of those that would be around for, I would say, 5 to 10 years minimum, which I think was the minimum to play out to get the time variable to play. At that time, I don't know anybody in the community that thought 2021 was going to be what it was with SPS. That multiple of asset inflation, price inflation, was ridiculous. I don't think it'll repeat with that speed, but I do think as these, take this tower defense, right, in the town hall. As we're listening to that, we all entered the town hall thinking, okay, here's the timeline of how we're going to use utility for SPS, utility for our cars. We're still burning packs. There's no real demand, any of that stuff. I'm not that big on tower defense. I don't know if I've ever actually played a game of tower defense. But when I heard of how the staking of the cards were going to go in, how it was going to benefit people, and then that DEC was going to be used to accelerate the time of things, that mechanism is how free-to-play games get money. Is they test your patience. They say, all right, you can have cool stuff if you wait 24 hours. Well, I want cool stuff now. So how do I get cool stuff? I need to pay DEC. How do I get DEC, this person asks. Well, you have to go to Splinterlands and trade SPS. Wait a second. How do I get SPS, right? And that's where you can get it from market and crypto. Now, that's a long on-ramp for normies. But for crypto people, that's great. That's an easy switch for them. And then that introduces the flywheel. So my horizon of use cases for DEC and then thus SPS has shrunk just on the town hall. I was jazzed. That was awesome to know that it's that close and there are syncs that available. So that type of stuff is really what I think will give that time variable that some folks that see the churn of people and the people that come and just play to earn and all that. If you're around, you've invested and you don't want to leave until your investment pays a certain amount, and in the meantime want to enjoy the game and the community, just relax, let the time variable play out. And as long as we're all here in 2 years, 3 years, there's a good likelihood that your cards will be worth the same or higher than they are now because they're scarce. They're limited commodity. No more printing. So from that perspective, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the single element that prevents Splinterlands from growing exponentially, it's the Hive being on the Hive engine. So
you mean it from visibility, not technical?
No, it's just a pain in the butt.
It's not a popular chain, right? So people are used to ETH. And...
I think it's a usability of Hive. So like I think the point of inflection where Splinterlands, the game, will grow exponentially. It's the moment, it's the day where me as a player will never ever know about Hive or see Hive.
Now, for you to that point, and not to interrupt directly, but I will interrupt with this. Do you hear from Yaba what I'm hearing, that SPS nodes and validators is essentially a layer 2 he's creating to create an environment exactly like you're talking about?
Yep. So this is what made Axie grow, right? It's the Ronin network. Once they created,
a lot of people yelled about. They hate it.
Yes. Yep. And the same thing with Axie. The people didn't understand the value that the Ronin network would bring. So the uniqueness, and Axie is the only game in town that has a layer 2 right now that's fully built out. From that standpoint, and you can talk about it's got hacked, it lost 600 million. All the component it brought in gave Google $60 million or what have you, to kind of put their authenticator on it and things like that. But the bottom line is that the moment that the validator node gets kicked off, run appropriately on Splinterlands, and the moment that we never have to even hear the word Hive or see it or navigate, it's the moment that Splinterlands will grow exponentially.
Yeah, I think so. I think to that point, I see the layer 2 that Yaba's creating with the nodes as step 1. Step
And it
two,
doesn't even matter the quality of the game that
No, it doesn't.
has.
It doesn't, because you're right. It's the access to it, right? Is if there's even a modicum of interest during a bull run or a crypto bull run, it doesn't matter the quality. It could be pixels like it's funny. Ryu in chat, he does Waxel game on Wax, and it's a pixelated game,
Yep.
and the graphics don't matter. I mean, people will go to crypto games regardless of the interface if they see something of interest, and the on ramp is easy enough. So
Yeah,
that's
this is
the point.
Yeah, it's shocking to me that people don't want to allow validators to be sold for DEC. That they still want SPS, and they don't really understand that the underlying structure, that single element that prevents Splinterlands from growing exponential, is because they don't have the validator node up and running like the Ronin network on Axie. And if you talk to anyone that plays Axie, Ronin network distinguishes it bar none from Gala, from Immutable, from any other product out there. It's a uniqueness of it.
Immutable was the attempt at a layer 2. It just doesn't feel like they got it right.
It went bankrupt. Okay.
I didn't know really what it was. I have a wallet over there, but I haven't paid attention.
I didn't know that they went bankrupt either.
Oh yeah. This is originally they had to shut it. This is why God's Unchained, and everything got rebuilt. Yeah.
Okay.
The history of Immutable. Yeah.
That's interesting. I would say that part of the reason that it went parabolic or exponential in 2021 was the fact that they were able to bridge to the Binance Smart Chain, because the Binance Smart Chain was getting so much activity. I had just explored it in the first half of 2021, and I probably would not have gotten into Splinterlands, discovered Hive, cared about Hive at all had I not been able to buy SPS and DEC on Binance or on BSC at the time, which is BNB. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that I disagree with you about creating like their own chain where they have where they're able to control it, but I'm just trying to better understand why you say when Hive isn't even mentioned, it'll be easier. Can you just break that down?
Yeah, like for instance, one of the most difficult things for us to acquire in the game is SPS. Let's say I want to buy $250,000, or let's say hypothetically I talk someone into spending $1 million to get SPS. How do I do that?
Mm-hmm. No, I'll tell you right now. So Neil and I run Venari Syndicate. We had to move a lot of fiat capital into the game, and there was a time when I was trying to catch the nodes on the sellout day. I had to private message to Yab and be like, "Your bridge broke," because we tried to send 50,000 US into the game and it got stuck. That would never. You talking about TerraBlock? Yeah, on TerraBlock. Wow. Got stuck. It wasn't released for 6 days. Oh, $50,000 in Ethereum is nothing. It's nothing.
Yep. And if you were to move Ethereum, ETH to Hive, there's no market for you to trade it.
Oh, the liquidity pool slippage we had to bear to move quickly was huge. Like seeing some of the chat of, oh my gosh, I lost 0.5% in trying to move $100 into the game. I'm like, wait till you try to move 10 grand. Yeah. Then tell me about the slippage. But to be in a good position to take advantage of a market situation, I'll take the hit. It's just painful. There are a lot of investors with a lot deeper pockets. Like we've been courting, like we have access to other crypto, I would say Uber whales out there. They have no interest in coming in here right now. It's so hard.
That's okay. So that's a question that I've been thinking about just privately. And Foye, you and I have talked about this as well, because you think that the team should be providing the liquidity into the pools
and the DAO,
or the DAO. Yeah. Because I've run into that issue too, where I mean, even now, I was just trying to figure out like, okay, well, I have, if I have some assets on Ethereum that I want to transfer in, I'm just looking at Sushi Swap, for example, and like to convert from ETH to SPS, like even just like $1,000 is going to be a significant hit, and I'm just like, oh, this is the gas fees plus that, like it.
Yeah, so the price of SPS isn't realistic because.
You can't exit out of the position if you wanted to.
And that's the biggest thing. Like people comment to me, they laugh when I start talking about SPS to them. They're like, okay, don't talk to me about that. There's nothing I can do.
So how do we solve this problem then? If you guys were in the decision making seat for a day,
validator node.
Validator node is step 1, and step 2 that I don't know how to fix, but I know needs to happen, is I need a closer exchange place
Yeah.
than Hive Engine. And
No, that's the thing. The validator node is the exchange. It's like the Ronin
so
network.
that's the technology piece that I
Yes.
just don't have visibility on. That might solve the problem because
Oh yeah, that's what the Ronin
barrier
network
right
is.
now, their
It's the
barrier
most
right now is
decentralized
Splinterlands.
gaming. Yeah.
Exactly, because Splinterlands as a company is US based. They can't have an exchange that's built into their UI.
There.
That would
Okay.
draw SEC attention in a minute. So once validators are up and going and it's decentralized and no longer has a board or a CEO to crucify, then the SEC can't bother with it. So once that's set up, I just don't know how they're going to do it. But to Foyer's point, it can be done at that point. Is that's when the
Okay.
exchange and the true depth of liquidity
And
the
that's
business-
when you see like SPS go from 3 cents to $10 overnight.
and the node validator owners are going to be very happy.
Yep, and that's why it's short-sightedness. They will not sell it for DEC. Just you're arguing over pennies.
Yeah, it's really pennies to say.
No one will buy the validator node with SPS. It's like
But, I
shooting
mean,
yourself
that's
in the
the-
foot.
It's
No, I
brilliant.
shouldn't say that. One person did pick up on valid, but you know,
More people have since it reached that.
So,
next level.
well, okay, hold on. I'm going to plead ignorance here and ask the stupid
I think
questions.
one picked up 4.
Because I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how the Ronin network works. So where is the on ramp for Ronin? Can you how do you convert fiat?
There's a bridge. So it's like Polygon. Polygon has a bridge. It's the same thing. It is the bridge.
Okay. Okay, I guess because I can understand the us being on a major exchange, that would make things a lot easier and better. But I guess I just need to do a little
It's
bit
a
more
terrible
research.
idea to put us on more exchanges and things like that.
I
To
agree.
put us on more
Okay, I'm not
centralized.
saying we should. I'm just saying that I can understand that being a good on ramp. But I need to do a little bit more research on Ronin because I just don't even know how you would buy.
Well, it's like Coinbase,
Ronin.
right? Coinbase, you can now establish a bridge so you can send money from Coinbase to Polygon. You no longer have to pay the ETH fee to go to MetaMask on the Ethereum side.
True. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's
you can
the
just-
same thing. Yep. So you'll see like the evolutionary curve for wallets. Right now, like you have one MetaMask wallet that has the same address, and you service a bunch of different exchanges, right? Binance, Polygon, Ethereum, Mainnet. You service, and it'll continue to add to this. And this is what Brave Browser, Brave Wallet's trying to do, right? But they're just taking their sweet time with it. But the essence is. And it's the same thing with the new Ledger Nano wallet, right? With the new guy from the iBot guy, and really, what the intention that they wanted to really do is just merge all this, where the wallet itself has the algorithm, the intellectual piece, the AI to function and navigate all this. So there's zero cost for you to transfer. Like you can have a single wallet. It's just like going to Costco, Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, whatever. You can spend money all from that single wallet without incurring any transaction costs. So this is the kind of the future of what wallet is, and Hive will never service that, and Hive will just be kind of left in the background because the Hive, they don't have a marketing team, they don't have it, and Leo Finance is trying to do some stuff to it, and some of the threads and kind of component to kind of market put Hive out there, but then you still don't solve this greater need for to be able to buy things at just frictionless.
Okay. So
without the validator node.
And
so
that's
with the validator nodes, you would be able to go and just buy.
Oh yeah, it's all on the
directly.
exchange. Yeah, you have card market, non-card market, everything will be moved off. But it'll all be there.
But okay,
so it's a
I
lift,
I think I just need to research Ronin.
Yeah, it's a huge
is what it is.
database lift. It's demarcation, separation of the database, how you stack it, and you can also use various different database.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
that's
go
where
ahead.
voucher is going to be when Yaba announced that, or it was in the post, that voucher, I guess it was Cryptomancer and Town Hall, that vouchers need to be, after this maintenance, moved out of game onto chain. That action is moving on to what will be the new layer 2 that'll be on the validator node.
Yep.
And so then it's just a question from a long-term perspective. The validator nodes will be managing the transactions. So all that the regulators and SEC can come to is Splinterlands as a US company able to interface with it, right? The same way
Correct.
they try to block exchanges and other things from even operating in different states.
Yep.
They could try that. At that point, then Splinterlands has a question, has something to figure out. But even at that point, there are plenty of other options of third-party sites, or even how what's that banner, Baron's Toolbox?
Yeah.
Right on there. Those can be the exchange, right? You download
Yep.
an add-on, and boom, there you go. So there's always going to be ways around it. Those who say, I want this token to be on an exchange, is a similar type of comment as those who say, oh, I want free to play available like Web 2. That's all sticking with today or backwards. The way forward with Web 3 is the true decentralization among decentralized nodes. So Bitcoin Maxi should be all over this.
I'm slagging right now. I'm failing to understand the
Bitcoin is slow to evolve.
ooh, those fighting words.
Shots fired.
You'll see over the next 20, 30 years.
I think my issue is I'm failing to understand the actual technical aspects of how this is set up. So I just need to do a little more research. But if I'm understanding correctly, for example, Splinterlands, as like their servers, their game, in a way exists as a layer 2 on top of the Hive chain, right? As does Hive Engine.
And it's also on the AWS.
It's on AWS, but I'm just saying, like, it exists as like a layer 2 on Hive Engine because it can interface with Hive Engine. So what we're trying to do with the SPS validators, right, which, you know, for fun we'll call like the SPS chain, is to have that layer 2 on top of Hive that Splinterlands can then interface with just the way that it does with Hive Engine, for example.
Sure, if you need resource credit and things, that's the second piece. Is like the resource credit is a killer. It's the way the Hive. It's great that there's zero transaction, but you know, I'd rather pay the small transaction fee on the Ronin network than I pay zero on the Hive and stake it, because at the end of the day, the Hive power is just. It's a great idea and it's a great concept, but you need some middle layer product like the validator node to kind of take over that piece of it.
I'm all for old school parking meters as well. I can use a quarter and boom, I've got it. Instead of pulling out an app and taking a picture and everything else to figure out where I'm going to park. It's like the staking of Hive. I have to go to a separate thing to stake an FRC or beg for it, so I'm going to delegate it. And that's outside of my transaction. Now, to that point, though, I think something that's unknown is what Yaba's full vision is of this. At one point, as he was going through one of his just mind dumps of what he's been working on, it gave me the feeling like he was replacing Hive. I don't know.
I mean, you can be what it's kind of like what the Ronin network is. You can survive anywhere. You can be on Polygon, you can be on Solana, you can be anywhere you want. You just basically light a switch and bridge to it. So essentially, but you still have to be dependent on the Hive engine for certain things, but it doesn't have to involve the user. The user doesn't have to know.
I think it makes sense that Yaba would have that flexibility in mind, given what they've been through, right? Mm-hmm. So, given the Justin Sun debacle, they knew how to get out of it in that state. But that came with a lot of baggage, and anybody that went through it or has read about it, there's a lot of bad blood with how certain tokens were withheld from certain accounts based on suspicion. And that's completely against decentralization. How a whole country was locked out. I mean, the Koreans thing. I mean, there was a lot of bad blood about that. And so the run from Justin Sun and the survivability of Splinterlands was because Splinterlands was still good with the Steam now became Hive witnesses that went along with it. Because yes, Splinterlands people are a lot of the top witnesses, but not all. I don't think they're a majority. And there's a lot of OG Hive people that are in control of that chain. So wisely, Yaba and Aggie should be figuring out a way that if Hive goes away from what would benefit Splinterland's economy, or at least let Splinterlands do its thing, they need to be able to move it to another chain.
And that's essentially just creating a layer 2 that is its own thing that you can essentially move somewhere else and plug and play.
Yeah. Okay. And so instead of resource credits on Hive, it can utilize gas fees on ETH.
You just cross-chain it.
Transaction. Exactly. Cross-chain it. And then you might interface with the blockchain in bulk versus, every transaction. So 100 transactions are done on the SPS layer 2, and then it's bulk written to the ETH chain 1 out of 100, right? Something like that. That's a primitive
okay.
version of.
Yeah, you can use different rollups and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's a rollup. Yeah, but it could be different. There's a lot more things since rollups. Rollups is
Right.
like 2017 technology.
I don't know.
Why
I
is,
think
why is everybody getting excited about rollups now, though?
yeah, I think rollup
We're not
is.
talking about fruit rollups after sound. We're talking about crypto.
Oh, whoa! No. I mean, hey, don't fruit rollups don't tickle me the way the ice cream does. So,
Okay, all right.
but
Yeah, ice cream
I've just
as
been
well.
I've been doing a lot of research on ZK rollups. Those seem to
Yeah.
be
Mhm.
so. Okay.
Yeah.
But
And
fruit
you'll-
rollups
you'll
are good
need
too.
it, Yeah.
Oh gosh, well now I got a different train of thought here.
Now you're hungry. You're realizing how far it's been since breakfast.
I know. I don't even do breakfast. So what time is it? Oh, we can start to wrap up now. It's
12.
noon for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
And Gathering Magic says game is up. Oh, maybe not.
game is up, maybe not. All right, let me see. What else? All right, looks like you're chatting with Stever here about Binance US. Yeah, Binance US is actually I do use Binance US, but
Depends on the state.
yeah.
And even then, the Binance US might not have full access to the tokens you need.
Just made me want to FOMO into another node. Yeah. Well, okay. So this was a
I
fantastic
didn't intend
discussion.
to FOMO anything, but it seems like a foregone conclusion. If you believe the trajectory that Foye and I discussed, then it's reasonable to conclude that node owners will be rewarded.
What are okay? So and let's close out with this. What are the steps to get us there? Because I know Foye, you and I have talked about this a little bit, right? Like, I think if I remember your opinion correctly, you were saying that the 5,000 nodes that have been sold right now aren't enough to stabilize the network. We need to move a lot more, and that's why the not Rift Watchers, but nodes for DEC proposal to help get those out there. What are the steps will we need aside from getting more nodes out there? What does the team need to or should they be doing in the background? Because apparently Hardpoint is working on this now. So what is he working on or needs to work on?
He'll need to. I don't know where he is. I don't know what their roadmap or what their project plan is. Where he's at in particular. They always say it's ready. It's good. They're testing it and they're moving. Vevi said they're slowly moving certain assets or certain items and to the validator node to test it, and they'll slow. I think Voucher is the latest one that's been moved to the validator. Yeah.
Vouchers and SPS are happening today.
Yeah.
And I think that's really
which is shocking, right? You figure it's the SPS validator node, right? SPS should be the first thing they test.
Should have been the first one, written right into it. But I think that's the progress bar, right? It could be a progress bar, but if you look at what on the site has been transitioned to the layer 2, and a user can feel it. If it takes longer to load on this page than other pages, that one's on the layer 2. And a lot of people have been talking about that. There's a slower moving site now. They're in this transition. And they'll speed that up, right? They just haven't been able to refine and speed up that layer 2 and get it optimized. So they're moving stuff over. So I'd say they're probably 50-60% there. The tokens being moved over are a big chunk of it, I think, from a financial point of view. And then you have a lot of UI and other things that are interfacing. And I think the battle mechanics moving over in whatever form they will be the last piece, I think, because that seems to be the most complicated. And it's also not on Hive Chain right now. Like the actual battle play out isn't on chain, just the input and the output.
Yeah.
So that'll be the last piece. And it sounded like from what Nate and Cryptomancer were talking about in the town hall yesterday, they're going to be revamping the battle look, like the choosing card screen and everything else. And I anticipate that'll probably be alongside this transition. And we're looking probably 2 quarters out, right? So I wouldn't put the validator nodes being here this first half of the year. I think maybe the beta of running some of the validator nodes on distributed servers, like some key validator holders will get the option to run like a test version. It might be Q3. This is me not looking at the roadmap, but it just kind of from memory and where we are. And I think we'd be lucky if it launches live by the end of the year, just on the current case.
Lucky by the end of the year. Okay.
Lucky by the end of the year.
And
Because
my
it's
long term,
a rush.
yeah, and the long term concern is who's going to be paying for all those transactions and how will they pay for it. It's because Matt has integrated a hybrid model between the Gala node model and then the Ronin network. So he took what he believed is the best of those two.
Both worlds.
Yeah, and it's so we'll see. It's a long term. There's a huge cost to this the transaction maintaining the validator node, and I think there's definitely a thought in there where I think once the validator gets turned on, and so the first maybe 4 years, 5 years, they're probably overpaying these validator node holders, and then there's going to kind of a little bit level off a little bit, and so we'll see. But that's a huge risk.
If they take the Gala model, they can supplement it with bonuses, right? They drop unique NFTs and other things.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I just got to take this real quick. I'll be right back, and then we can close out. Sorry, guys. Hold on, one
No
second.
worries. Yeah,
wait,
so
I
I know it's
still
dangerous.
an active stream. All right, everybody, here we go. Time for ridiculousness. All right, Aaron says, get that flywheel cranking. That's right. Right here, right now. Let's see all you. Let's go. Crank the flywheel.
So how do you view the comments? You have it on a separate screen?
Yeah, I have the YouTube thing set up, and it's muted.
And you mute it. Yeah,
I have the stream yard. I'm surprised it's running decently on the Surface, but it seems to work. Let's see. Did you hear that Splinter Forge maybe change the game to prevent naked heroes in the future? You'll have to buy at least a crate. Yeah, that's a question for Aftersun. Let's see. 5,000 nodes. Take no license to node. Okay, so that's a good point Stever brings up, and I've thought about this a lot. So you have the distribution of the node licenses, and so there are many out there. I mean, I have 10 right now. Hopefully, to get more. There's some with 20. There's 50, and then there's the big node holders. They could theoretically run it all on one server because it's a license. And so the 5,000 doesn't represent 5,000 independent nodes. Furthermore, If you look at the Hive model, I've heard that over 90% of the Hive nodes are run through a service like Privex or whatever.
Correct. Yep.
And from that standpoint, it's just like an IWS or AWS, right? It's one central point that if that went down, you don't really have the decentralization. Now, to that point, it seems like the node validators should compete for that extra 10% to be a voted on witness by proving that they have a distributed setup, right? Because we as a community would want that and would want to vote that. So if there's a way to prove that, then that would be a winning point that I would want to vote for the person that takes their 20 licenses and has it split up to 10 different servers across something geographic or something
else. Know, it's a pointless voting process. Whoever has the most SPS will just vote for themselves.
Yeah. But I mean, but that only
it's
works.
Free money.
It is for money, but here's the thing though. There's what is nice about the distribution of SPS and distributing it into a bear market is there's been a lot sold off to a lot smaller hands. And as proven with the very first vote, a lot of angry small hand holders can overturn the whales.
True.
And I think, and with the express prices and now, anybody that wants to have a lever on this ecosystem needs to be stacking SPS now. This is the time because whales are in a pattern of consistency and they have a plan, right? They have their own plan.
So the number one reason, the number one reason people tell me so I ask people that can put a large sum of money into SPS, and I ask them, why aren't you interested? And they're like, well, the team has control. So even if I buy into it, I don't have control. And there's I put $50 million and I buy out the entire lot of SPS when I don't have control at the end of the day.
No,
so
that's
for that reason, very few people would buy large chunks of SPS.
That's an important thing to know about how high net worth becomes high net worth is control. They have to get into a position that they know that they are on the winning side of a bet, that they have some control in, and basically protecting the downside. And if one comes into a marketplace with $100 million of assets, but they're at the whims of a team that they don't know, then yeah, that's a big risk. They're not going to do it.
And it's not really there isn't really a lot of value in the governance process. Like people give it credence to or creative. I think the SPS is really for just earning and just staking and just using it in different capacity. I think the voting, the governance is just fun. It's just people throwing 100,000 DEC here and there.
It needs to be there as a shield, right? So there's no one person to sue, right? The DAO exists in some form.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think the staking mechanism is what's going to drive it.
Yeah, it's a staking that's going to drive the value for it. I think so. That's the other thing that the one other person said, that if they fully implemented a trustless staking mechanism, maybe they'll put they'll come around and they'll put some more money into it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do people not have that issue with Axie and like the AXS token then?
No.
But how do they feel like they have control with that?
Because they're told up front they're told up front they have no control.
Well, okay. I'm just curious why they would
it's
be willing to
just
go.
everyone is told differently for Splinterlands world.
Well,
It's
you
just
know that
narrative.
first time you found some DEC the other day and talked about it for 2 hours.
It's just
I found
narrative.
some what?
You remember the DEC that just popped up on your stream? The 100 million DEC that you haven't found?
Oh,
Yeah. They've got to get the accounting right on all the tokens and the auditing and everything else. Because, I mean, and that's a very similar conversation that I've had, not directly, but through partners. And it's a similar comment, is it's too small. We're still too small, which on one side means if anybody's not a whale and they want to be a whale, this is your chance to make some moves.
chance to do it.
Yeah, and
Because
it's
if and when this gets big, there will be people that come in.
it's for basically people with worth under $100 million, and they want to throw a certain percentage into this game to kind of level up.
Yeah, that was the same for us. We have a couple of mega whales over 100 million. They've continued to show no interest.
Yeah, if you have like 500 million, a billion, 10 billion, there's nothing that that is appetizing for you
In here.
Yeah.
What would change that?
Staking, SPS staking, and maybe the maybe Splinterlands as a company isn't based in Philadelphia.
That is true too. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely regulatory risk there. So.
Yeah, there is, and then there's also they're facing a macro long challenge with Ethereum, Polygon, and that whole network is just crushing everything. So you don't want to fall on that weight if you're if you're a guy that's talking to Ray Dalio. That's not what Ray would tell you.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to your question is, we have everything on the layer 2. It's player staking, and there's a passive way to inject capital easily that's free of regulation pressure. Then it's safe or safer, right? Mm-hmm. And that diversification to protect wealth isn't necessarily a bad thing at that point. Then they might show some interest. At this point, they'd want to get involved in a project they can control it, or they have a huge upside versus the risk. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't that. We had that batch of people come in 2021. And to your point, after sign of like what made 2021 appealing, yeah, we were on Binance, but before SPS launched and before you found it on Binance, if you look at the chart of the tokens from about May of 2021 to July, the people here understood, and Jarvie was putting out videos of what SPS airdrop points were going to do. And the market already started blowing up. DEC already went above its par value before July.
Really?
And then it just kept on going. And so once the DEC was above par, DEC wasn't known anywhere for the most part. It was in a couple of swap pools on Ethereum, on Uniswap, but that's it. Then once SPS was out, now you have a launch of a new token, which gets all crypto people excited. Then they look at the last 2 or 3 months and see the assets all went up by 2 or 3x. Now they're doubly excited. And it's in the play to earn space, which Axie had proven works. It was a perfect storm, right?
Yeah, it was.
That's why so many people came in and there was such visibility to it. This next growth is going to be much more, I think, and I could be completely wrong, but it would be much more controlled, like stepwise, to grow into a much more mature platform with a layer 2, with true decentralization. And then I think we'll see growth of third-party apps integration. Nifty's solving a problem, Flex solving a problem, Peak Monster solving a problem that the Splinterlands team can't do on their own. And I think that is an aspect of Splinterlands that these other games don't have as much, or that I'm familiar with. They might have, but it gives the Splinterlands game much more depth than they can do as a small team.
Sure.
Because Splinterlands isn't just Splinterlands.com. It's all of the partners and the communities around it, and that's pretty deep.
And you know what I would love to see is that once Splinter Forge gets rid of their stablecoin and just stick with DEC and then sell the game to Splinterlands.
That would be a better. They might be seeing their own token as a way to, like, handle their costs. But you're exactly right.
Oh yeah, it does handle their costs, but in a long term, it's just a terrible.
A lot better selling it. You're right.
Yes.
And then becoming an employee to just keep it running.
Or I don't know. However,
or just get bought out.
Just buy it out and let them handle it.
Yeah.
And then that rolls into the portfolio. So not only are they launching on this P2E game in a box, or whatever they're calling it, Web3 game in a box, is launching TD, is launching Splinter Forge, is launching Genesis League Sports. It just adds another title.
And it paves the way for other developers to do something that's just cool enough so they can do it as a proof of concept model and then sell it to the team, and the team builds on it and they can integrate it.
You know who will be exceptionally happy is all the people that bought Boss Monster levels in the first Kickstarter. So finally get it in game.
Yes.
Finally.
Well, the thing is, if they buy out the project, then there's less incentive, right, for them to create that on their own with land. But there will already be an infrastructure there for it. So, and I agree. I mean, Bitcoin Maxi, right? I want less tokens. So if they can find a way to integrate DEC,
but there's no
just have
reason
that be
you
the
can't integrate it with land, right? Where you go to somebody's land to enter Splinter Forge, right? And it's only on certain plots that Splinter Forge interface can be.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right. So to me, land is like I'm playing Dragon
Warrior.
Warrior.
It's a neutral land area. Yep.
Yeah, a neutral land. It's a use of neutral land. Exactly.
Yep.
Or the team probably owns some land, right? So they can use that as a way to like.
Yeah, either one, and it also paves the way that so it's different. Like Axie's land is you have a central area. Everyone wants to be around the center, right, near rivers and other things. There's a lot of geometrical reasons for it, rational to value land. But Splinterlands created these different regions, and from their perspective, and we can only take them at their word. But I doubt it would stand the test of time. Just human nature, how we migrate, the migration pattern of human. We just don't think in the same way that I think Nate is thinking from a lore perspective. I think lore is great. It's fantastic. I think I just wish it would be more integrated into the Splinterlands piece, kind of like the way Pokemon, their cards and how it speaks.
I think they're getting there. From my understanding, so I've been with the team for about a year now, and it just feels like the conversations are different when it comes to lore. Where before, Matt would come up with a great idea, he'd talk to the devs, and the devs would be like, "Yeah, we can implement this in like X amount of time," and then they'd bring it to creative, and creative would say, "Yeah, well, we should have been consulted earlier because it's going to take a while, right? Now you told the community that you can get it out in X amount of time, but like." Creative has this whole other set of like tasks that they need to do. But and now it seems like the reverse, right? With this whole agile thing, they're all talking before any kind of time frame is put out there, which is great.
But from like an econometrics model, right? It completely devalues and neutralizes and linear flattens out the economy of land versus you were to say, okay, these castles and keeps. On these regions, there's a section of neutral land that merges, right? And all the castles and keep owners, they all have an equity into this piece. And you put in, it's like, where you merge into where, multiple states come together. You have a piece of land it's an overlap, right? So you have this land that's, that creates, and then it leads to a lot of econometrics conversation on, like, you can do sponsorship, right? You can have events, you can have concerts, you can have a lot of things that you can broadcast, and people can come together in one single main platform area. And I think this is where the game is missing, unless they're really striving for something that's 100 years plus out of the way, which is creating these mainland that's within every region. And that still doesn't answer. Like in every single thing, there has to be a geopolitical center, power center, whether it's Washington, D.C., or, whether it's Silicon Valley. There has to be a power epicenter, right? So for them to kind of flat and linear and say everything is neutral, it's just not the way human beings, our minds work. And it's just not a way to stack an economy. So, just my perspective on it.
Well, I mean, you take NFTs and people are trying to sell them because they're the number one mint, or they have a funny word in the serial number. Yeah. I mean, there's value to humans that are more than the bits and bytes on the screen.
True.
Yeah, and for them to just try to let people mint land, I don't know, dudes. That just seems a little weird.
Yeah.
But maybe they know something I don't know too, because they're a driver of it, and they have a better long-term roadmap.
Well, I mean, there's definitely things that they're thinking about that they haven't shared with us. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
like the secret of Pretoria.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that's going to be about, but it does excite me about the fact that you'll be able to use your resources before items and spells come in, because the items and spells seems like it's way far off. So there's other areas in which you can start, this year, right? Start using that. That'll be great.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool, guys. This was awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time. I learned a lot and continue to learn a lot. Any final thoughts, Vet? I'll let you go first on where you're seeing things, how you see the rest of the month, the quarter, the year.
Yeah, I think this was a good chat. I appreciate the time, Foyer, and getting some FaceTime with you. I think there's a lot that we can talk through from many different angles. So I'm excited after that town hall. I'm hoping this, putting the bear behind us is sustainable. I'm cautious, but that'd be great. And regardless of what the macro market does, I mean, when it comes down to it, Splinterlands or any game like it, you put in effort and you get something in return. You keep chugging along as a community. We'll be here on the other end. So I'll leave it with that.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Foyer, any final thoughts?
I'm good, man. I appreciate everyone's time.
For sure. Well, you guys are always welcome on here. When I stream, so it's Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. So I always appreciate the conversation, both in the chat and then obviously with you guys here today. So I'm excited. I'm bullish. I don't know, I mean, I got my Papa Bear mug, but you could probably tell that my attitude, or however you want, perspective has been probably a little too bullish, making me uncomfortable sometimes when I think about all the cool stuff that they've been sharing that they have in mind. But to both of your points today, I think it's time preferences, right? And just understanding that this cool stuff is coming. It's going to take a while, and then the effects of it might even take longer. But on the whole, yeah, I'm excited. Just happy to be a part.
Cool.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. I'll be back on Thursday. Make sure you have a good week. I don't know if there's nothing else to say. I'll catch y'all later. Guys, stick around. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream here. But peace.
Yeah.